Welcome to the Forum, your way to keep up with state and community leaders, experts, and local business leaders. This is your chance to hear from and talk to people that affect your life right here in Rim Country. You can express your opinions by calling 474-2427. And remember, the comments and opinions of guests and callers are not necessarily the opinions of KMOG. Welcome to Rim Country Forum.
Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Rim Country Forum. I'm Charlie Seraphin here on KMOG in Payson and KMOGcountry.com around the world. For those of you listening in Mongolia this morning, we are really pleased that you're with us. You may not understand a word that we're saying, but we hope that you'll understand a little bit the feeling that we're trying to put out there. And also in the Philippines, I know that many of you, in fact, most of you probably speak English, so it's good to have you along. If you have a question or a comment as we get into the program, we'll be happy to hear from you as well. And we always like to remember people in Kokomo, Indiana, another special place that we have lots of listeners in Kokomo. The Power of Fives is a sponsor. The Dana Law Group, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, Pinnacle Propane, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, the Owens Law Firm, and Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, all wonderful local sponsors. We hope that you will patronize them, or in the case of the Power of Fives, go to their website, thepoweroffives.com. And before we begin, we have a special program for you today, folks. This is something that you have never heard before and I have never done before, so we're going to learn together. But we have a reminder of summer jobs for students. And Woody Klein, one of our county supervisors, asked me if I would please be sure to promote this program because it's a wonderful thing for students. And if you don't take advantage of it, it will be gone and it won't come back. So this is the year to get your student out of the house this summer and gainfully employed. The Gila County has summer jobs, great summer jobs, available in Payson and in the Tonto National Forest, a great opportunity for young people to get an introduction to careers in the Forest Service. Applications close on May 17th. That's Monday. So you've got the rest of this week to apply. You can contact the Human Resources Department on the Gila County website, or you can call Erica Raymond, and her telephone number is 928-402-4253. That's Erica at 928-402-4253. It's a really great program. They have good wages for youngsters and an opportunity to learn a career. So some of the jobs are here in Payson with the town of Payson. Some of them are with the Forest Service, and it's something that you need to think about doing. So we have a new sponsor on the radio station, and our new clients are in studio. But before they even get here, someone has a question. So let's go to the phone and say, good morning. Welcome to the Forum. Who's on the line? Well, button. Oh, got to push the button. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. I was wondering if I could speak to Debbie.
Oh, certainly. Just a moment, please. Okay, we'll take care of that. And that would be for Debbie. Hello. In the other room there, someone. All right. Mike and Carol Jansky, welcome to KMOG.
Well, thank you for having us on your show.
Welcome to Payson.
Thank you.
How long have you been in Payson?
2 years.
2 years. And we're going to go, this is what we do at the beginning of the program. We always ask people, and I already asked you off air, but I'm going to ask you again. Carol, where were you born?
Massachusetts.
Where in Massachusetts?
Little town called Andover.
Andover. We know about Andover, okay. And where were you born, Mike?
Billerica. Sorry.
You forgot where you were born?
I forgot where I was born.
Okay. Where were you born?
Brighton, Massachusetts.
Brighton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay. Because people might hear that in your accents. I did. I picked up on it. And I said, you're New Englanders, right?
Yep.
Yes, you
so
did.
As a general thing. But you've lived in Arizona for a while.
30 years.
1989.
1989. And you were in the Valley?
Yes.
And what did you do in the Valley?
Worked for a no-kill animal shelter, and then 7 years ago we opened our own shelter and thrift store.
Okay. How about you, Mike? Same?
Same. Yep.
Were you always working together?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so tell me about your devotion to no-kill animal shelters, because that's a passion and a calling, and some people have it, and some people don't. You obviously do. You've been doing it a long time.
Always had a love for animals, and back in the 70s, I tested to go to a vocational high school to be a veterinarian, and I was accepted. But unfortunately, back then, there was very few women in that career, and my parents would not allow me to go in. So that was put on the back burner. I went to high school and college and did something else, but it was not my calling. And then back in New Hampshire and Massachusetts, I was working with humane societies, and we had back there the MSPCA. And then we moved out here, and I went to work for an agency in Youngtown, Arizona. And as I said, 7 years ago, we started our own agency.
Okay, and Mike, Cat World Rescue, is it a for-profit operation? Is it a non-profit operation? How does it work?
It's non-profit. We're 501c3, which is non-profit.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of our stuff that comes in is,
Donations. We can give a tax receipt for if somebody donates something to our store.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's a store and it's a rescue facility.
We are a thrift store, and all that money benefits our animals, and we're working on trying to get the adoption center as part of the store.
In the same physical location is what you're talking about.
We're working on that now.
And your store is located on Main Street. What's the address there?
408 West Main Street.
Okay. And so if people come into 408 West Main Street at Cat World Rescue, what will they find?
The thrift store has many different things. We have clothing, we have a kitchen section, man cave, which the men love. We have a large animal section. We have everything from leashes, collars, dog and cat food, cages for sale. We have a baby section, so quite a few different things.
And are those items used items that were donated primarily, or do you have new items as well?
Most of them are used. A lot of our pet things are brand new and donated to us from different stores in the valley that no longer use those items. So we're able to pass them on, and then that money generated goes back to our animals.
And where are the animals being kept right now?
Most of them are in foster at different locations, either down in the valley or actually right up here in Payson. And that's one of the things we are in desperate need for foster parents to foster anywhere from newborn bottle babies up to weaned babies. Sometimes a short-term adult that maybe has had surgery and needs a couple of weeks to recover to have stitches out before they go for adoption. And we supply the food, we supply the litter, cat boxes, basically everything they need. The foster parent would supply the love.
Do you work in conjunction with, or is it a completely separate operation from the animal shelter here?
We are separate from them, but we have rescued rabbits out of their organization and found homes for them. We also partner with the Humane Society in Yuma and the Humane Society in Phoenix. So if they're overloaded, sometimes we take some of their animals.
So the name says Cat World Rescue, but you just mentioned rabbits, so you take animals other than cats.
We take all animals. We've had snakes. We have guinea pigs coming in next week. We've had birds. Basically, as long as it's friendly, we'll take it in and find a home for it. Unfortunately, we really don't work with feral animals unless we can try to facilitate spay and neuter, but then they would have to be released back to the area they came from.
And why is that? The feral animals, it's too hard to try to domesticate them?
If they're old enough, they're too wild at that point. You have to use a humane trap to catch them. They go into the vets. They would sedate them before they can even get them out of the trap to do the spay and neuter. They also then do a universal ear tip. That animal is then brought back and released 24 hours later in the area it came from, but it breaks the cycle of reproduction.
All right. Is there a need for this type of service in Payson? Is that why you came here?
Very much so. There's a lot of wild animals in Payson, Star Valley, that people do feed and give water to, but they keep reproducing kittens. And within a year, a mother cat and all of her kittens can produce another 30 kittens. So it escalates very, very quickly.
And then do those animals starve if there's not sufficient food?
They will hunt and help keep rodent population down. But a lot of them do go hungry. They come in very underweight, and a lot of them are very sick too. They have parasite, different diseases, and if an animal is adoptable, we have to treat all that before it goes up for adoption.
It's 17 minutes after 9 o'clock on the Rim Country Forum. If you have a question or a comment about feral cats or domesticated pets that have been abandoned, or people who are in a situation where they just can't care for their pet anymore, and they want to make sure that it ends up alive and in a safe home somewhere, the number is 474-2427. Give us a call, 474-2427 on the Rim Country Forum. You're listening to the Rim Country Forum here on KMOG. We have a couple of relative newcomers to the community here today, Mike and Carol Jansky, and they are the operators of Cat World Rescue on Main Street. It's an organization, a 501c3 nonprofit that tries to save the lives of animals, I guess in the simplest sense. Yeah, Mike?
Yeah. Yep.
What is your passion? Why would you devote your life to something like this? It's not an easy path.
No, I love animals, though. I mean, any animal I love. I mean, when I see like a cat hit by a car or something like that, sometimes I break down. It's because of my passion with the animals. And of course, I've been working with my wife for 8, almost 9 years, doing this kind of work. And, I like it. I enjoy it. I really do.
What's a really great day? What's a success story day like at Cat World Rescue? What happens?
A success day for us is adopting a lot of animals, seeing a lot of animals go to homes, good homes.
And how do you screen the people to determine whether or not it's a good home that they're going to? If somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I'm looking for a pet cat," or pat, either one, I guess.
You can almost tell by the person, his attitude or her attitude towards the animal. We've had a few, and we've had to turn them down because we just didn't feel that the adoption was right.
Yeah, there is an application, and we look at things. We want the animals to be kept indoors for the safety of them. There's a lot of coyotes up here and other animals. So we do have an application, and one of the questions is, do you have a doggy door? And if the answer is yes, how do you plan on keeping that cat in? And if they say, oh, we're going to let it out, it may not be a good fit for the animal. Another question is, will you declaw? We do not condone declawing. It's very cruel for the animal, very painful, and it does cause other behavioral issues.
Like what?
They can bite more because they've lost a natural defense. Some of them will not use cat boxes anymore because the litter actually hurts the nerves in the feet, because they've cut that. To take the nail off, they've actually cut the joint at the very end and taken bone out. And then that leaves nerves exposed. So, painful situation.
Why do people declaw cats?
They may get a cat that's scratching furniture, may scratch them excessively. And what we recommend is bring them in, we'll cut toenails for them. If you cut the nails consistently, the quicks move back. I have a cat at home people think is declawed. Her claws are still there, but they're so short now, she acts like a declawed cat. So it's just basic grooming and care of the animal to make sure those nails stay very short and prevents furniture scratching. There's other solutions out there too. There's 2-sided sticky tape. And if you put that on the corners of your couches for about 6 weeks, usually breaks the habit of them scratching furniture. They do not like the feel of that sticky tape on their feet. So there are ways to train animals without taking their claws out.
If people come into the store and they just have questions, they have a cat, but they're having some issue with their cat, do you do a little counseling on the side as well?
We try to give them suggestions. We do have some soft paws in there that are brand new, which are a glue-on soft nail, prevents them from doing damage to furniture and rugs. And then, like I said, we've talked about trimming nails, and I can do that for them. And we just ask a $5 donation to help go back toward our animals.
You mentioned doggy door. Do you deal with any dogs?
We do have, we have a couple of Jack Russell Terriers right now. I believe, though, both are adopted at this point, and those were what we call foster failures. And that is a good thing. The foster mother actually ends up adopting the animal. And we have...
Oh, that's a foster failure. What would be a foster success then?
That the animal comes back and we find it a forever home. But,
okay.
We do have a kitty that came in. She was 24 hours old, delivered in a flower pot here in Payson. The mother cat came back and took 2, but never came back for the 3rd kitten. Obviously, at 24 hours old, it was not going to survive not being fed. Lady contacted us. We took the cat in. It's now in foster, and that woman is going to adopt that kitten.
So that started out as a feral cat?
It was probably born to a feral mother, and we don't know what happened to the other 2 kittens, unfortunately.
So that's interesting. So the instincts are not necessarily genetic. So if you take a feral cat at birth and it survives, and you feed it as you've done, kind of nurse it through its infancy, it can grow up to be a domesticated cat and be a good pet.
This kitten is very friendly. We have another bottle baby that was born to a feral mother that got killed by a car. That will be a very friendly cat. If we can get kittens that were born to ferals by 4 to 5 weeks of age, even if they're a little wild, we can usually train them to be used to being held and being friendly, and they make wonderful adoptable pets.
Mm-hmm. Why cats are very smart? Yes,
very smart,
very independent,
extremely.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so have you seen, because pretty much any dog, it doesn't even have to be a really smart dog, but you can train a dog to fetch and bring something back to you. Cats, not so much. They may go chase after something if you throw it, but then they just say, okay. They're not so much into that pleasing gamesmanship that some other animals are. Are they?
With treats, you can train them to a degree. We've had cats we've trained to play ball. We'll throw paper. They'll bring it back. We give them a little treat. After a while, they learn every time that paper's coming back, they're going to get a small treat. And they can be trained to do other things, too. A lot of animals have worked in circuses and different things, and these are basic house cats. So it's the time you want to involve to train that animal.
We're learning about cats here today, in particular, and other animals that need adoption and some love. And Mike and Carol Jansky are in Payson at Cats World Rescue on Main Street. And they are obviously passionate animal people who want to save lives and have set up a 501c3 in order to do that. And they take donations. Have people been dropping off a lot of things? How long has the store been open?
We are 5 weeks old today.
5 weeks old today, but you already have inventory to sell. So how do you get the word out on something like that to say, we're here, we're trying to save animals, if you're interested, please make a donation if you got some furniture or if you got clothing or whatever that is in good shape and can be resold.
We've used Payson Chat, and then people word of mouth has been amazing. We have actually gone on Trades and Sales asking for donations. The Payson community has been overwhelming with bringing things into us, and it's just been amazing. We're very thankful for that, and as I said, being a nonprofit, if you do file taxes, we can give you a tax receipt to write that off your taxes.
Yeah. I think that works for your Arizona taxes, probably not so much on your federal taxes anymore, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they cut it.
They cut it.
Yeah.
Mike, so you lived in the Valley for a while.
Uh-huh.
Quite a few years.
Yes.
And now you're in Payson. How do you compare the two?
A lot better in Payson than it is in the valley.
Yeah, why? I mean, what is it about living here that is different and
I
special?
we're from back east, and we love the seasons, and we have the seasons up here, like we have the snow and the change of the trees and stuff like that, and we like it. It's more, Payson is more like back east. It's, the weather, and it's not as hot up here as it is down there. I just couldn't take the heat anymore. We had to get out of there. It was killing me.
Well, your operation in the valley was a lot bigger than the operation that you have up here, yes?
Actually, our thrift store in the valley was 5,500 square feet, and we've scaled down to 3,500 square feet, which is still a good-sized store. We have 2 stores that are combined, and we're trying to get the wall opened up in between the 2 of them to make it one large facility. I'd say one thing, too, I want to mention. I think the people up here are a lot warmer than in the valley. They talk to you more. They come into the store and they carry on a conversation. It's just amazing. We've already made so many friends in this store, and they've gone home and told neighbors, or they've put it on their Facebook, and that's how our organization is growing.
The people here are special.
Definitely.
It's just a different kind of community, and
Yes.
people who aren't from here have a really hard time understanding the uniqueness of the town of Payson.
Yeah, this is very typical of a New England person, and we love it up here. I mean, I can't say enough about it. We definitely want to spend the rest of our lives here.
Yeah, it's small town versus urban. In an urban community, even good people are a little bit hesitant to reach out and strike up that conversation. But here, everybody talks to everybody, and if you don't,
sit out on your porch and somebody walks by and you're carrying on a conversation with them.
yeah, that's very much a very friendly place. If you have a question or a comment about cats, animals, stray animals, adoption, any of that, it's the Rim Country Forum today with Cats World Rescue, and Mike and Carol are here. Mike and Carol Jansky, who are the operators of that 501c3 on Main Street. You may have driven by, maybe you haven't stopped in yet. You can stop in and say hello and introduce yourself and ask questions. She said she'll even trim the nails of your cat if you have difficulty with that. Show you how to do it, maybe. And maybe there's someone out there that's looking for a pet. And if they're looking for a pet, this would be some nice folks to talk to. If you have a question or a comment, 474-2427. It's a Tuesday edition of the Rim Country Forum here on KMOG. It's 28 minutes until 10 o'clock. We have Mike and Carol Jansky in studio from Cats World Rescue. And the county recently voted to, they're building a new animal shelter in Globe, and they recently voted to take the funding away from the local SPCA so that stray animals that are picked up in Payson will now be transported to Globe and held there for their owners to pick up. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but
No,
and
that's
the
new
SPCA was
information
really
to me.
concerned because they're losing $30-some thousand, which is a critical part of their operating income. But apparently the cost per animal that they were sheltering, because they don't pick up that many animals or have that many animals turned into them, was exorbitant. So they figured it'd be cheaper for the county to move that service down to Globe. So I'm just thinking about what you're doing. You're an alternative to that. So if there's a domesticated cat that's wandering around that is lost or abandoned or whatever, there is another option other than calling animal control to have that animal picked up, right?
Yes.
And how would that work?
They would call us. We would facilitate that animal coming in. Once it comes in, we assess it for health. It would get its first shot the day it comes in. We schedule it for spay and neuter. We would do a worming before it goes in for spaying neuter. And then the day of it being fixed, we test it for FIV, FELV, which is the leukemias, make sure it's negative. If it's over 4 months old, the vet does a rabies shot. Animal comes back to us for a week and goes into foster. Then he goes down to the valley to PetSmart. We have 2 locations down there for adoption. And hopefully it finds a new home relevantly quickly.
Okay, so when you start a nonprofit in a small town like Payson, there are some enormous challenges in the beginning. One is finding a location, which you've done. And the other one is starting up your thrift store operation, which you've done. But there are some complexities to that, and who minds the shop when you two aren't there?
Right now it is us 24/7. We run the shop Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. Mondays we are in the valley for spay and neuters and vet checks on some animals. Also on Mondays and Sundays we still have to clean our animals that if they're not in foster. So there's a lot of work involved. We are in desperate need of volunteers. We are asking for people 1 day a week, 1 to 2 hours, and it can be any of those days that we're open, any of those times. The other thing we are in desperate need for is foster parents, and that can be for bottle babies, but they would have to be home. The person would have to be home 24/7. Bottle baby is fed every 2 hours round the clock. We then need fosters for weaned babies, which means they're eating on their own. That person could have a job and not have to be home constantly. And sometimes we need fosters for an older cat. We just had a cat had an eye removed. He had to have 2 weeks of recovery till his stitches came out so that he could go to PetSmart in the valley. We do supply all the food, the litter. If they need medication, we send that along with the animal. We'll give you a cat box. All you would supply is the love and the care and the time that that animal needs till he leaves you to go for adoption.
Are they doing adoptions at the PetSmart here in town?
Yes, but Humane Society has been up here for years, so they have that facility.
Okay, so the animals that have been turned into them, and they go through a similar process, yes?
Correct.
In terms of the checking the health of the animal and that sort of thing?
I don't know if they have their own site vet. We go down to the valley. Unfortunately, we have not found vets up here that are within our price range to keep our adoption fee reasonable.
Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Mike. Another
Hi,
Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, I'm the next door neighbor to Cat's World, and I guess I'd have to fess up. I'm one of those foster failures.
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
So what happened that was so bad, Mike, that you took that foster animal home and then you just couldn't get rid of it? What kind of an animal did you adopt?
Well, there's a lot of factors there, but it was Mike and Carol weren't there very long before my wife came in and got one of these little kittens that needed a home. And of course, we got 2 cats at home, and they were amused by this little thing. And we've got dogs that grew up with cats, and so they're very kind to this little kitten. So you just sit there in the living room, watch this little kitten batting at the dogs and jumping up and down, and it's just like, well, this is it. I guess we can't ever send this kitty anywhere else. So that's how it works.
So it was a good process, though. You're this is kind of a testimonial, I guess, for Cat's World Rescue.
Something like that. Mike and Carol are great neighbors. I love having them next door, and it's always entertaining over there at the store. There's always interesting things going on, and they're great folks. So, but we got a passion for animals at our home too, so it just fit right in, and so great to have them in Payson.
No, God bless you, Mike. I appreciate your call, and thanks for your support for these folks. And there you go. One of your neighbors is a happy camper.
Thanks,
and
Mike.
And a failed rescue. I'll always remember that. That's because that's counterintuitive to me, but I hear what you're saying. 22 minutes until 10 o'clock. So, yeah, that was a good one. Little coffee down the throat there. Mike, there's something else that you need besides volunteers, and you do desperately need some volunteers to help out. What's that?
Well, we need a pickup truck if we can get one donated to us to make pickups. I do have a trailer, but I don't have a truck to pull it with. All I have is an SUV, and you can't get big furniture in an SUV. So we're really hurting for a pickup truck. If somebody can donate one to us, we would really appreciate that.
I think the question that people ask, and I don't mean to be insensitive or rude or anything, but how can you make a living when you're devoting 24/7 to running a nonprofit? How do you put food on the table, and how are you able to keep things going?
At this point, we're retired. We live on our retirement, and that gets us by. The money for the animals, everything goes back into them between the vet costs. Medication, we always have antibiotics and wormers. I just bought a bucket of formula Sunday. It'll be delivered Thursday, and I was shocked that it had gone up to $299 a bucket. But it's a good formula, and it's what we like to use for the kittens. It gives them their best chance at life. So sometimes you have to go above and beyond, and there's many times I put money into these animals. And that is one of the reasons we've decided to do the thrift shop again, to give us the extra money to support extra things we're doing. Again, we have done some feral cats where people didn't have the money, and we've paid for the spay or neuters and the ear tips. So we try to give as much as we can, and it benefits the community if we don't have a million kittens running around here. And there's people that are not cat lovers. They don't want them in their gardens, digging up their plants or using their gardens as a litter box, and we understand that. Keeping the population down helps that tremendously.
Is there is there a process of euthanasia for certain animals that are diseased or otherwise it would be cost prohibitive to try to
that is a very good
them?
question. We are what they call a no-kill rescue. What that means is we do not euthanize to make room for another animal to come in. But at the same time, if a 16-year-old comes in that's in full kidney or liver failure, we're not going to let him suffer. We will go ahead and euthanize him humanely, and our vet takes care of that for us. And that is a decision made between us and the vet. We talk about it, and we do what's in the best interest of the animal. Last month, though, we did have a cat that needed an eye removed. We took care of that. He has been adopted. We had another cat that had been hit by a car. We did an amputation on that kitty. That cat has now found a home. And then last month, we had 3 seniors that come in that needed full dentals. Dentals are very, very expensive, but it has to be done before the animal goes into a permanent home. We can't expect the adopter to take on that huge expense right after taking that animal home. The other saddest thing we work with is the FIV, FELV cats. FIV cats we will allow to live, and we find them a home as either an only animal or with other positive kitties.
What's an FID cat?
It's feline infectious. Oh boy, it's one of the leukemias.
Okay.
That one, they can live a very long life. They just need to be an only cat, and we do have one up for adoption right now. She's only 1 year old. FELV cats, again, another leukemia. They usually don't make it past 18 months of age. It's a horrible way to die, and we will usually humanely euthanize them.
Let's go back to the phone. Say good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Hi, this is Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Morning, Jenny.
Hi. We have found that we have apparently a feral mother cat underneath our house and had kittens. So now I'm trying to figure out how to get them out and get them somewhere else other than here. How
are
do
the
you
kittens?
suggest that I get them?
How old are the kittens at this point?
They're not very old. I would say maybe a few weeks, 3-4 weeks.
Okay.
I haven't seen them. My husband did. And they had found one little hole underneath our foundation, and they went in there, and she had her babies, and that's where they live, and I got to figure out how to get them out.
Okay. If you would like to give me a call after the show, They probably need to be there another week or two nursing off the mother, and then we would come down and set traps, trap them, get the kittens out of there. We could also trap the mother, get her spayed. There is a minimal cost for that, but she would have to come back to your area. The good thing is she would not be having any more kittens. We ask people to supply food and water for the mother, and then when she ages out and passes away, that breaks the cycle.
Now, if we don't want the mother back here at my house, what do I do with her?
Unfortunately, there are not a lot of options for feral cats. Sometimes we can find a farm that'll take them, a horse farm that's looking for a mouser, but they usually have so many at this point they're not taking a lot more on. It would just be a matter of making calls. If not, the only option is to bring her back, but like I said, she would not be having kittens.
Okay.
And she also helps keep your mouse population down, too. They make
Right.
good rodent control.
Right. Well, see, we have a dog, and we really don't want a cat here.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I'm trying to figure out what I can do with the mother. Then once she's fixed, can you adopt her out too?
if she's feral and we cannot touch her, no. Nobody's going to adopt an animal that you can't even pick up and hold, and that's usually what a feral is. A feral is very, very vicious. They usually don't want to be touched. They're extremely aggressive. Now, the other thing is, if it's a cat that somebody has dumped in your neighborhood and she's friendly, yes, we could adopt her out. We would have to evaluate her once she is trapped and see if she's just scared or a true feral.
Okay. All right. I will get your number, and I will contact you.
Good, and we'll talk further, and we'll see about getting a trap and getting those kittens out of there in about another week to 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, that's a challenge, isn't it? And it's not the first time you've had that conversation, is it, Carol?
The biggest problem is the feral mamas, and about the only thing we can do is, like I said, get them spayed, neuter the toms, break that cycle of reproduction. The cat would go back to the area she's used to. We ask somebody to put out some dry food and water just so that they don't starve to death. But once that colony ages out and passes away, then you're done with it. And as long as you keep them fixed and they're not reproducing, it's going to end eventually. You also have natural predator control that's going to, unfortunately, kill some of them. We have the coyotes, the cats, and they're going to take care of some of those feral cats. But the biggest concern is spaying and neutering so they don't keep reproducing.
The kittens themselves, what's the plan there?
At 4 to 5 weeks of age, they're going to be nasty, but we take a towel, we hold them, get them used to being handled. We give them treats, we feed them from our hand to get them used to human interaction. 99 out of 100, we will get into new homes. Sometimes there's one that just never tames down. It's what we say, too far. And that one may have to be eventually spayed and neutered and released close to the area where it came from.
Why is the area so important in terms of releasing a neutered feral cat?
That's what they're familiar with. They know they hunt that area. They know where their hiding spots are. In the case with this lady, if we can trap the mother, the day she gets spayed, they should cover up that hole so that she cannot get back under the house and then find another, the mother cat will find another area to sleep at night or during the day whenever they decide. In the hot summer, they'll go under bushes that have possibly been watered to stay cool.
It's a complex issue that I have never spent any time examining, and so I'm learning a lot today, and I appreciate you for that. 12 minutes until 10 o'clock here in the Rim Country Forum. We're talking about cats, feral cats, the adoption of cats, cat diseases, and all things cats. If you're a cat person, I bet you have a comment or a question. 474-2427. It's the Rim Country Forum on a Tuesday. Charlie Seraphin with you, along with Mike and Carol Jansky, who are the operators of Cats World Rescue, a new nonprofit here in Payson. They've been on Main Street for the last 5 weeks, and they're in the process of adopting out as many cats and kittens as they can. And in the meantime, they're really in need of foster parents, foster homes. And let's go to the phones and see if we can find one. Hello, Bill. How are you today?
How did you know?
I don't know. It's just a wild guess.
Okay. Are there by any chance a couple of ferals in the back room at your studio?
I don't know that. Oh, there are a couple of ferals here. Yes, Mike and Debbie. Yeah, they're ferals.
Funny. You
yeah,
didn't get much out of that.
I did. That's a good joke. We like that one, Bill.
Anyway, I'm very excited about the people who are on the program today. Can you tell me where the location is? Where your home is? I mean, your office is, whatever you call it.
It's 408 West Main Street. We are to the right of the Nook.
Okay, that was what I wanted to know. Now, someone who I felt was, and I use the word lady not loosely, a lady who worked at the Humane Society, the local Humane Society in Payson, this is many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, told me that the ASPCA, which advertises extensively, or whatever, anyway, does not share their funds with local humane societies. Can you verify that, or is that a misunderstanding?
That would be internal with them, and I really don't know how their organization works. Sometimes we get excessive food donated. I've actually donated food to the Humane Society here in Payson, down in the valley. But if people are feeding ferals here and we have excess food, we give it out free of charge.
Okay.
So again,
I was distinguishing between the ASPCA, which is not local,
right,
and the Humane Society, which is local. They're two different organizations. I guess that's it. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Bless you. Have a beautiful day. That's just plain Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, we just don't know enough about the organizations. I don't know how their internal funding works, so I really can't say anything about that. I just don't know.
You told me about a situation, something that happened in the Valley recently. Was it last week?
Actually, it was happened Mother's Day, and we picked the kittens up yesterday. There was a lady that contacted us that was driving down 67th Avenue in the Valley near Peoria, and there was a van in front of her that would speed up, slam on his brakes, open his door, and throw a kitten out. She pulled over, and another young man pulled over, and they were able to stop traffic and pick up this one kitten. Then they found out he went down further and did the same thing. Well, we've now found out through Nextdoor there was a total of 5 kittens thrown out of this vehicle. And it's sad. What he did was definitely wrong, but the problem is we are in the middle of kitten season, and not just our shelter, but every shelter in Arizona is saturated with kittens right now. This comes back to the same thing. Unfixed females and unfixed toms, the population explodes every spring. The more volunteers we can get for foster means the more cats that can come into us. And that's why I said we are in desperate need of foster parents, and we supply everything. So there's no cost out of your pocket. It's mainly the love and the time that is involved from your end.
And sometimes the fostering situation is successful, and this is that counterintuitive thing we talked about, and they'll come back to you and you'll adopt them out to a different home.
Now, if somebody takes in, say, 5 kittens, they might adopt one and then the other 4 would go up for adoption. Foster parents always have first pick of adoption on animals. So that is a benefit of being a foster parent, too. There may be one there that's very sweet, that is very bonded to them, and they may want that animal as a permanent pet.
Now, when we were talking off the air before we began, you said that there are occasions when you have animals other than cats that you take in, like guinea pigs.
We have 3 guinea pigs coming in Monday for rescue. Young woman bought the 3 of them and found out it was just too much, and she doesn't have the time. We've had birds. We've had a paralyzed lizard come in. Again, somebody bought an animal, didn't do the research, didn't give this poor thing calcium, didn't give him the proper lighting, and they ended up paralyzing him. We ended up keeping him for 3 years till he passed away on his own from natural causes. We've had a boa constrictor come in, but he was a friendly, very friendly 2-year-old, and we found a home for him. Then
he grew up into a large boa constrictor,
I'm sure he
and then
did.
he ate the person that you had that adopted him. Yeah, that's a little scary. Come
we
on.
try not to work with exotic animals, but there are situations where I will say yes.
Okay, and birds. I heard on Trades and Sales the other day somebody was looking for a large bird. So those are relatively easy to adopt out?
There's Fallen Feathers, which works with large parrots and things, but we've had cockatiels, parakeets, and canaries come in. Those we can facilitate the adoption on. But if they're looking for these huge macaws, we recommend them contacting an organization called Fallen Feathers, and they can facilitate large bird adoptions.
That's the other thing that I'm learning is that because of your extensive background in rescue, animal rescue, all types of animal rescue, if somebody comes in that is looking for a specific type of pet to adopt, or if someone has a specific type of pet that they can no longer keep, you're a pretty good resource because you know the names of all the organizations and the kind of the ups and downs and the ins and outs of how pet adoption works, which is a really specialized field.
It is, and that's why we wouldn't want to work with pot-bellied pigs. We don't have the nutrition for them or the resources to care for them. So we'll refer them on to a pot-belly rescue, a macaw rescue. There's many different agencies out there that are equipped to handle specific animals. So we will not take something in that we cannot care for properly.
Somebody called in off the air and asked, would you please give that phone number where they can contact you because they would like to have that telephone conversation with you?
Our phone number is 623-216-5469, and we answer that from 9 in the morning till 8 p.m. at night.
Once again, if you got your pencil ready and you're interested in talking with Mike and Carol Jansky from Cat's World Rescue, the number is 623-216-5469.
Correct.
Okay. What's the most fun that you have in doing this, either of you? When what's a really, we talked about a successful day, but what's a really fun day?
Watching a bottle baby grow up, the day it rolls on its back and finds its feet. It's so fun to watch them, watching them learn to play, to discover their bodies, and if there's a group of them when they're playing together. It's just amazing to watch these little guys. If you get a 24-hour-old kitten in with an umbilical cord and just watch it develop and go through the different stages, and then finding homes, handing that animal off to a new family, and then you get pictures, like a baby book, or you get calls that the animal's doing amazing. That's just a wonderful experience.
How about you, Mike? Tell me a fun day.
A fun day for me is, bottle babies are really fun. I love bottle babies. I pretty much the same as my wife. I enjoy watching them grow, and some bottle babies are really laid back, I would say, and some are pretty rough.
Spunky.
Yeah, the one we have right now is pretty cranky. He doesn't like to eat. He spits the bottle out, stuff like that.
He's more of a challenge.
Yeah.
It's Mike and Carol Jansky, and it's called Cat's World Rescue. It's at 408 West Main Street in Suite number 3, and the telephone number again is 623-216-5469. 623-216-5469. Thank you, folks. Really nice to meet you. Welcome to Payson.
Well, thank you for having us on your show, and hopefully we find some new volunteers and expand our horizons.
There you go. And thanks for the work that you do in saving those animals.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Thanks to our sponsors, the Power of Fives, the Dana Law Group, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, Pinnacle Propane, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, the Owens Law Firm, and Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration. Until tomorrow. I think tomorrow we have the vet in. Dr. Hallman will be in to talk about animals again. So we got 2 animal days in a row. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, bright and early, here on KMOG Payson. It's 10 o'clock. 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 It's 10 o'clock.